Hello, adventurer! There's nothing more that brings me joy than a brand new episode of my favorite podcast. But I always do need a refresher, so let's find out what happened last time on The Incredible Party. Cornering Kacha and preventing their escape from the body chamber, Mia and Falzaren rebuff his claim on their owed favors before defeating the Nyogi god in combat. Tending to Samuel and unable to wake him up, his surviving personal guard ready him for transport back to the hub in whatever condition the Paladin forces are in. And now the harrowing adventure continues. As you are moving past Kay's body, Thufdamar stops abruptly. Falzaren, wait! And you see him quickly scamper back down the tunnel into the chamber, returning a few seconds later, brandishing Thuf the Younger's stick. This will make an excellent replacement gain. And he starts to use it as, hold it as Alamar did his silver eagle-headed cane way back in the day.
Oh, Alamar. I'm glad to have you back.
We may need you. You're a Zelwick. Maybe you know how to fix this armor.
I may be able to do something, Miss Brightwood.
Let's get out of this cave before someone severs the connection and we're stuck in here, right?
Yes, there's no other way out of this room. We should make haste and get out of here.
Get Samuel out of here. I look at the guards.
And kill a K at the head of the wagon that you've put Samuel into. As you've emptied the bodies from it, and pushing towards the portal and making your way through it. It feels stiff and it requires more effort to get through. As it stretches very much slower than it normally would. As normally it's you're just kind of taking steps forward and you're almost unobstructed. But the residue it leaves on you, it feels heavier and thicker, taking longer to dissipate as you move through. And you immediately arrive to just stacks of corpses, orc, yeti, and paladins alike. The frost giant's massive form is slumped against one of those large stone pillars that kind of prop up the ceiling of the chamber on your immediate right as you exit the portal. Its axe, remember, it was as large as as a person, right? Lodged into the stone floor, having slammed down inches from the strand of twisted webbing that allows the portal to function. There's slaughtered paladins that they kind of lay draped over this strand in as if they were protecting it in their moment of death. Arrows and blades still stuck in their backs. And you can see there's dozens of cuts and slices in the strand. Most of them very shallow and superficial, but others much deeper, in some spaces leaving only inches of webbing still connected.
I'm gonna guess that's why it felt thick.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Clearly, the smoothness of the functionality of it hindered by the damage to the strand. But down on the main floor, you see scrambling over bodies and slipping in gore from the battle. Nyogi forces appear to be retreating, with the paladins in pursuit. And there's still pockets of fighting that still rages on against cornered groups of orcs, surrounded trolls and giants, as the paladins encircle them, and Samuel's forces clearly have gained control of this space. And from your vantage point up on what served as almost this balcony ring right around this chamber, Calloway is still down there with her troops and tending to any of the wounded, now that there's clearly much more safe zones where there just isn't any fighting going on currently. Ventrier is kind of standing at the base of the bloated Nyogi that controls the portal system. She appears to be deep in thought as she's examining it.
Does it appear that there's one portal in particular that the Nyogi forces are trying to escape through, or is it just kind of anywhere they can go?
It does, basically on the opposite side of this chamber. It appears that, marked on the map, Portal 15 is the focus of the retreat. And there's bunches of the Nyogi forces, right? essentially like queuing up to get through this portal, and similar to the swath of bodies trying to narrow in through like Portal 1 when you entered from the new front line. It's almost like that same thing, but just at Portal 15 now with the opposing forces.
Falzaren, what does that portal lead to? They're all going somewhere.
I think, if I remember correctly, beyond that portal is a massive, massive chamber with ships that are meant to be escape ships. I think they can fly up into the wild space and flee Aspara.
Can you feel is there a connection there? Is Kay still alive? Did he escape?
I feel like my link to Kay has been severed. I just have the memories.
Oh, I wish we could ask Samuel what to do. Like, do we sever that connection? Where does it lead? Where is the cave?
It's under Mount Necrosis. It's a massive, massive cavern with multiple escape ships that have been being loaded for I don't know how long, prepared should they need to escape.
Do we let him leave? He said he would rather see Aspara burn than leave.
I don't know. My gut tells me we can't trust them to what they will do if we let them escape. Do you think we have the numbers to take this fight there? It seems like the Paladin forces are gaining the upper hand. I just wish Samuel would come back to join the fight.
You know, you're taking this brief second to converse, and as you're like witnessing the fleeing forces, it's also clear that like the Paladins are in full pursuit. Like, it's not just Neogi forces going through.
It is. Okay.
15, right? Like, the Paladins are clearly following them through.
Okay, so they're not just like driving them through; they're actually like pursuing them.
Like, seek and destroy. Clearly, is what it looks like.
Well, it looks like Paladins are going in. We can't sever the connection. We can't abandon our people. I don't know if Samuel will be safe there. I feel like I need General Calloway to look at Samuel.
Easily locatable. I mean, again, you can kind of spy her. She's still near-ish where like the portal you used to enter, which is Portal 1 on the map. And so you're above on the second story, right? So did you want to try to move Samuel down to the first floor? Is like, because, you know, like the Neogi spider climb, right? There's no actual like staircase or walkway down anywhere.
Right, I know. What would be the easiest way? Let's
see.
With
the combined efforts of you know the four guards of Samuel's that are still available, like, it's not going to be a trouble to get him down there, but it's more of just do you all want to get down to the bottom floor now?
I think so, because 15 is on the bottom floor, right?
Portal 15 is actually on the second story.
Oh, jeez.
So you can circumnavigate this chamber and get to Portal 15 pretty easily, right? And obviously, like, you can see Paladins like scrambling up the thick web strand as well, and doing everything they can to get up there. And a few of them are just clearly like benefiting from potions of climb and just scampering right up the side of the rock.
Falzaren, should we just have Samuel left with the healers here and go right across, like go around? Braun, what do you think?
I don't think it's safe to bring him in the state he's in. I have no idea what's going on, but he could be just a moment from death if he were to be injured in any way further.
I agree, we can't risk it. We can trust the general. Who's coming with us? And I look at Alomar, Braun, any of the soldiers. I mean, some of the soldiers gotta bring him down, obviously, so maybe Killer K will come with us.
Sure, Killer K will stick with you. Braun speaks up. I can stay with Samuel if you need me to. I don't know. Again, I've tried to do what I can. I hope this Calloway person will be able to do more. But if you need me with you, sister, I'll stay with you.
Braun, I know and trust you. I think you can stay.
If I may, I don't know how exhausted you are, Braun, or how much magical resource you have left, but we may need all of the forces we can muster to try and stop these Neogi. I don't know.
Okay. I just hate the idea of leaving, but we gotta go. And I guess I just take off and leave it up to Braun.
Okay, Braun will respond to Falzaren. If you need healing, I can assist. Just tell me if you need it.
I don't know that we do at the moment, but there may be quite a battle beyond that portal. You're a very talented healer. I think it might be good to have you with us.
I will see Samuel to General Calloway, and will join you as soon as I can.
Excellent. Thank you, Braun.
Okay, and yeah, Thuftamar will stick with Falzaren. The guards, they kind of take the wagon to all but Killikay. Killikay will stick with Mia. The other three, though, will take them to the edge, and all three of them grab someone on the torso and two on either leg of Samuel, take him out of the wagon, call over more forces requiring rope, and and begin to lower him down. As you clearly see Calloway rushing over as well as soon as General Calloway spots Samuel, clearly in this unconscious state or whatever is going on with him. So you three now, Mia, Falzaren, and Thuftamar four with Killikay. You want to just sprint around this huge chamber, get into portal 15?
That's my plan.
Whichever way is shortest to get there. Falzaren could fly on Denny and take...
Oh yeah, you could.
I forget if we ruled whether Falzaren and Mia are too heavy to go on Denny or not. I know he's flown a shaft before.
Denny is able to lift the both of you with the combined weight. It would reduce Denny's speed to not being any faster than you actually walking anyways because of the weight. So Falzaren and Thuftamar certainly can benefit from the full speed of Denny. But Falzaren and Mia exceeds the weight limit of Denny's 50-foot fly speed.
You call me fat?
I'm calling you heavily armored.
You're a heavily armored lady.
Smart answer.
What does it look like over at that portal? Is it mostly enemies at it right now, or is it a good mix of paladins also there?
It is very quickly becoming predominantly paladins there, as any remaining forces, as they're attempting to flee, are just getting cut down by the mass of paladins that are catching up, and think of it almost like this backlog of Samuel's forces, right? Swarming into this one narrow tunnel of an exit. And as again, paladins are passing through, clearly seeing that the remaining Neogi force is here, well in hand by the rest of the right, and they want to catch up to those that have already gone before them. So you're not going to have any real resistance to getting through that portal, or to it really, because of any forces that are still remaining in the chamber itself, clearly occupied by paladins.
So Falzaren's going to open his bag of holding and reach in and try and summon Denny.
And Denny pops out, as soon as that bag is open, Denny is up and out and flitting around.
Oh, it's good to see you, old friend. He's going to mount Denny and swoop over to Alamar. Say, Alamar, climb aboard. This will get us there much quicker.
Okay, Falzaren.
No, behind me. Come on.
Thuftamar hops on behind you.
I'm going to urge Denny to just make a beeline straight across, and I'm going to yell down once I get past the halfway mark. I'm going to yell down at any of the paladin forces who can hear me. We have to go through this portal. It's their exit strategy. Whatever you do, don't let anybody sever this web rope that leads to it. We won't be able to get back out.
Okay, you kind of scream this over the ding and clash of metal on flesh, right, as most of the paladins are preoccupied either fighting or already on their way to the portal. And, Falzaren and Thuftamar will arrive there first, a little more quickly than Mia and Killikay. So do you want to go through without Mia? Do you want to be first through?
I think if I don't feel like I'm completely outnumbered, which sounds like you described, there's a lot of paladins that are already there and starting to take over. We're going to go through and start trying to do whatever we can to help the forces on the other side prevent the escape of these Neogi.
And this portal seems to be butter smooth, like it should be as you pass through. You step through into this blast of heat and the orange yellow glow of lakes of magma, branching walkways snake through this massive subterranean pocket, and they kind of act as bridges over this roiling and bubbling lake of molten rock. You see the strands of web fiber they branch out everywhere, all over every stone surface, originating from the portal and just splinter and fray out. Thousands of beings are still waging war. paladins chasing Nyogi and their thralls as they continue their retreat towards metallic spiders is what you're seeing. I mean, Falzaren has, just through recollection of what Kay has witnessed, has seen these before. These constructions, though, they're various sizes. Some are roughly 100 feet long, which for context is would be the length and size of like the Rising Four. The biggest, though, spanning closer to like 6 times that size.
Whoa, the scale of this is like...
They stand upright, pointed towards openings in the stone ceiling above them. Their back legs kind of suspend the thorax of what would be like if it was a spider, right? The thorax of their constructions. They kind of look like black widows is essentially the shape that they're taking. But they're suspended, the thorax, over like a narrow pool or a narrow tunnel. Immediately in front of you, Falzaren and Thuftmar, is just like swaths of paladins just marching forward, and you can see that they've made it nearly already all the way into this chamber. And Mia and Killa K, you very quickly like catch up, right, as you kind of pop through. And you both know that these are wild spacefaring vessels. One based on what Falzaren, having many of Kay's knowledge, and Mia, some of like your investigation into reading up on the Nyogi from all the information that you can find.
The cosmology of the material plane.
Right, exactly. But Mia, you actually immediately also recognize similarities in build to the crashed wreck that you investigated more than a year ago outside of Barrack.
Right.
And there are creatures like rushing aboard onto these ships with like lowered sections of the abdomen, like swing open like hatches essentially.
Would I know like how fast they could take off, or like how much time we have, sort of thing?
I'm not sure that you would have that, obviously have that exact knowledge, but based on their size and how many forces are still here, like there's a lot of Nyogi and their thralls yet to be loaded onto the ships, so I don't know if that gives you any indication on like how quickly they might want to be taking off out of here. And Falzaren, through your knowledge, like their launch sequence is utilizing the thermal energy of the magma. So like there's something that will trigger like a reaction in the magma to launch these up essentially the tubes, right? The launch tubes that have been bored into the stone above and below Mount Necrosis, obviously going to lead to an opening in the mountain somewhere.
So there looks like basically directly opposite the side of this cave. I don't even know if it would be within seeing distance, depending on how big this cave is, but there's the one, it looks like the mothership, the biggest one, all the way across the other side. Can I see that far?
Oh yeah. You can take in everything here. Again, it's like fairly flat too, right? So you have a pretty clear line of sight with the glow in the magma. Like it may look like almost as if you're like in a lava or looking through a lava lamp from the colors that are being thrown around. But there's plenty of illumination in here. And those web strands, though, like ultimately they do look like they end at each of these ships.
Does that ship look to be heavily fortified and surrounded by enemies?
There are just forces absolutely everywhere.
So we're kind of outnumbered now.
I wouldn't say that you plus the Paladin forces are really outnumbered, as again, it's clear that the intent of the Nyogi forces are to get onto these ships, but mostly though what that looks like is the actual Nyogi themselves, while their thralls are like forming this wall of opposition against the encroaching paladins, right? It's very clear that the Nyogi aren't too concerned about getting everybody onto these ships.
I definitely lock eyes on the big one as well.
I think what Falzaren's going to do first is activate his circlet. I don't think I've actually said on mic that he has done that, so we're going to be completely clear that it is now activated. And then I'm gonna start flying in the direction of the mothership, but I don't want to get like way behind enemy lines, if that makes sense. So I'll try and join more or less like the front lines of the paladins and try and sort of like help to make a spearhead to wedge our way through and break through the line of enemies in hopes of making our way across to that mothership. I kind of have my eyes set on getting to that mothership as soon as possible, but I don't want to go there completely on my own.
As you progress, right, I know you're sticking with the bulk of paladins here as everybody is trying to make forward movement, like both sides, right, are clearly trying to make forward movement. And you do see, like, far off to the right and the left, which is close, some of the closest ships to you, like, being swarmed by the paladins. And, like, paladins are actually getting onto some of these smaller ships, right, as they're fighting their way on. One of which, it actually starts to tip, like, as paladins are clearly, like, trying to take out the legs that are supporting it, right? And it just begins to tip slowly over and over, and then smashes into the opening of the small pool, magma pool, and its thorax kind of dips into it, and just, you can, like, hear the screams of beings inside of it just roasting, and the metal slowly succumbing to the liquid magma. But further past that, near the outer edge, at the back of this chamber, kind of far off to your left though, dozens of what look like Umber Hulk begin to plummet from the ceiling as they burst out of the rock, and they fall into the magma flows. Behind them, more magma just pours out of these tunnels that they've carved into the pool that, you know, below all these walkways. It looks like it's, like, highly viscous liquid just kind of spills out like a drool into the lake below, flowing over what used to be safe walkways of stone, just completely sweeping across forces, again, both sides in the battle, right? And more channels begin to be smashed and ground open by the Umber Hulk claws and mandibles. As, you know, they come out like fireballs, like stream, like on fire from the magma behind them, as they're just following their command from their Nyogi masters. Very quickly, enough of these start to open as you were progressing that the magma lake's levels slowly begin to rise.
What?
From the opposite side of where that's happening, on further over to your right, more Umber Hulk smash through the ceiling and plummet to the stone and magma below. This time, however, not followed by more magma channels. Water begins to stream out in tidal waves of it, right? Blasting orcs and trolls and the paladins into the magma, nearly instantly filling this space with the hiss of water turning to steam as it is rapidly heated. Layers of magma, as the water hits, right, instantly harden as it's rapidly cooled before it starts to violently bubble and roil from trapped steam and gases as they try to rise out of this viscous material of the magma. Huge chunks of ice you can see in the flowing water splashing into the magma, painting the surrounded creatures with searing splatters. The magma rises further as the bubbling intensifies. Waves of it now sweep across the walkways. The entire chamber begins to tremble. Narrow sections of the stone pathways collapsing. The Nyogi vessels, their hatches, you see them slowly begin to rise. Many creatures still trying desperately to get aboard as they do. The metallic legs, they wrap around the ships as they begin to plummet down these narrow tubes below them. Spouts of magma now violently erupting from this growing lake in this hydrovolcanic reaction. And those ships, from the force of the steam in the side of the narrow tubes, get this kind of boost as they are shot up and out as they begin to launch. And everything is just shaking around you as just more violent roil of the magma rising in this chamber.
Falzaren, I think plans are changing here.
Falzaren sort of grabs hold and pulls up and back on Denny. We need to retreat. It's too late. There's nothing we can do. This whole place is gonna come down.
Yeah, fly around and tell all the paladins that. I don't think the Nyogi will follow. We gotta get out of here.
Yep, Falzaren will try to make his way to any of the paladins that have ventured in further to try and yell at them and tell them to turn back. He wants to get out of here, so he's gonna try and zip around and shout at any of them to turn back, but then he's not waiting because he's worried that this whole place is coming down soon.
The ice chunks and stuff. Is it like, would I be able to control the water with a control water spell? It says like you can control any free standing water inside an area you choose. So it's not really water.
It is water, but within the water that's pouring out of, like, again, it's like dozens of like 10 by 10 foot holes opened up by a portal, right?
Because the other option is like under control water, I could cause a flood, so I could cause a level of any standing water could rise by as much as 20 feet. I'm basically trying to know if there's any way I could manipulate to make sure that the portal area doesn't have magma flowing in front of it, so that we could like keep the pathway clear a bit.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, okay, absolutely. Like the closest opening, a few hundred feet from you, like, because it's very clear, like, the combination of the water and the additional magma, like, it's what's causing the eruption, right? And this reaction.
So, like, I mean, the other issue is it one hole? Because I could redirect flow if it was just one hole.
No, again, it's like dozens of both magma and water pouring into this chamber.
I just want to, like, cool off magma so people could escape.
Okay, absolutely. You can 100% do that. Yes. So the main kind of this main largest walkway that the two of you have started down, yes, as you see, like, the magma begins to like spill up out of the pools beneath as it's rising onto this walkway. You can absolutely divert some water and essentially like solidify it on the walkway, which, it would just be hardened molten rock now that paladins can actually step over without, succumbing to the burning of magma. 100%. Absolutely.
Because, like, again, I don't think it'll end up being a 20-foot wall of water like the spell intends. It sort of, like, combats with the natural elements, but, like, kind of helps control the flow so people could escape.
Absolutely, yes. You can definitely do that. And you do, like, you see, like, the roiling magma is encircling paladins, and when you controlling the water essentially is dousing the flames that are surrounded, this ring of magma that they're surrounded by, allowing them to escape and make it to the portal.
It's up to 10 minutes too, so that's awesome. Like, if the water keeps coming, I got 10 minutes.
It looks like it is. And this chamber is like a steam room now. Keep that in mind too. Like, it's like heavily obscured in most places because of the steam. As Falzaren, you are zipping your way above everything, right?
I'm concentrating. I wonder if there's some way we could, like... Is Braun in here with me yet? I'm just wondering if there's any, like, light or, like, spell we could cast that shows people where to run to? Like, where the portal would be? Like, I have Sacred Flame, but it's like... Or, sorry, I have Light, the cantrip Light, but I can't cast a cantrip while I'm concentrating, or...
Yeah, no, you can. The cantrip Light doesn't require concentration, so you could...
Bright light in a 20-foot radius. It's something. I don't know, I cast Light on my hammer or something.
Okay,
and I
that's
have that
awesome.
up in the air while I'm controlling water with one hand, hammer in the other. I'm like...
That's perfect.
Air traffic control here.
Okay, why don't you roll me a D100, and...
Okay.
Depending on your roll, it's going to basically depend on how effective or how many paladins essentially you're able to secure.
53.
Okay, that's
53 paladins.
That's better
out
than-
of 500 and...
that's better than 52 and below.
I mean, that statement is correct.
You have a real
That is-
way of putting things, Leland.
That is factually correct.
That is true. Girls gotta try.
Okay, so you allow those 53 paladins with your control water are able to find their way through this steam, right? And like, you can hear some screams from the paladins as it's clear, like, in the steam, they're like walking off the edge of these walkways into the pool below.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
It's just absolute chaos now, as again now the swath of bodies making it back to portal 15, trying to get back into the portal hub. And I can just imagine, Mia, you got your hammer raised, fully alit, ushering paladins through, right? Now, Mia, are you basically waiting for Falzaren, like, to get down back to you before you head through yourself, or...
I'm just sort of like... It's a little bit like, when you got popcorn in the microwave, you're supposed to listen for the, space between the pops. I'm just, if there's only one person coming every 6 seconds, it's time to go. That.
Okay, I got you.
A very good analogy.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's how you don't burn it. You gotta wait. You gotta listen.
Well, I can assure you there are many things in this chamber getting burned.
Okay, I believe you. I guess I don't know. I would yell up, Falzaren, I'm leaving. Like once it gets to that point, and I mean, he's at his own risk. He's got the speed. I would go.
Falzaren kind of looks around, surveys what's happening below him, looks over to sort of the direction that he heard Mia, and says, Alamar, I think we've done as much as we can. We need to save ourselves.
Get us out of here!
He grabs hold of Denny and sort of urges Denny toward the sound of Mia's voice and the light, if he's able to see it at all through the steam.
Absolutely, and this entire, the rumbling is intensifying, right? And now, in addition to magma and water with chunks of ice, you actually see a section of building, like wooden building and huts in the water flow, and now rocks, huge chunks of stone from the rumbling shaken loose now around those openings, begin to fall and splash into the magma as well. And you can get through, push your own way through this portal, and you kind of come out to the other side of it, and almost right into Braun, as Braun is wading through now this force of paladins moving the opposite direction, and he sees, sister, what's going on? Why are we retreating?
It's essentially a volcano or something. There were ships. Some might leave, but many are perishing. We had to retreat. I stayed as long as I could. Have you seen Falzaren? Has he come out yet?
And he, as you say that, Falzaren and Thufdamar out, Denny pushes through the portal.
Falzaren, were there many left? Did any ships take off?
Oh, Mia, it was so hard to see through all the steam, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure some of the ships were able to...
Was that supposed to happen?
I think so, yes. I think that's the mechanism that launches the ships. It looked like some of them went straight up through those holes in the mountain.
They're just kamikaze umber hulks? Wow.
I think the reaction of the water and the ice and the magma, it propels them with the pressure of the steam.
There's just so many perishing.
I know.
I did what I could.
We did our best, Mia. There are many who will be saved because of what we did.
Fly us down. We need to go check on Samuel.
Okay, you can make your way down there. Again, it's just lots of paladins still coming through.
Make trips and take us.
Sure. And there's about less than 5 minutes later, this portal becomes completely solid as it appears to cease to function. And the chamber you're in, a low rumbling begins to intensify as well, and nowhere near as severe obviously in the main chamber where the reaction is occurring, but it's clearly spread here, and you don't know how far that portal takes you, obviously.
Do we know where we are in this hub? Are we close to Mount Necrosis?
I'm unsure. You just know that you are somewhere underground.
But we're not feeling it through the portal. We're feeling it in the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
So close enough to feel it. Whatever. Oh my gosh. Any progress, Calloway?
I've no healing is working. What happened? What's going on? What?
It seemed like every time he was using the armor, it was sucking the life out of him, and he's not dead, but he's not alive.
And you see that Ventrier is with Calloway as well, right? And Ventrier is in going over the armor, much in the same way you were doing when you were trying to pull it off of him. And Ventrier, there is no seam. This has become a solid piece.
Welded together. I don't know.
And because you're motioning towards the closed portal now. Status report.
it led to where the spaceships were. Falzaren knew because of ways, things too long to explain right now. That's where their escape plan was. So the Neogi were escaping, we pursued, and many lives were lost because it's basically an undermountain volcano, under Mount Necrosis, and the lava was consuming so many. Like, this is all that made it out. This is it.
Yes, I think many of the Neogi forces likely perished, but it seems that some were able to board their escape vessels and launch themselves directly up out of the mountain. I don't know if we will see them again or what to expect.
It's just awful.
We did our best, but yes, there were many lost.
Our best wasn't enough. We think we killed the Neogi god, but also his soul might have escaped, and now Samuel's trapped. Our people have perished.
Slow down. We need to evacuate then.
Yeah, are we close to Mount Necrosis? I mean, I think the fight is sort of won, but they're also escaping, but yeah, go back to the front lines?
I don't know how close this chamber is to Mount Necrosis, but it's probably safest to go back through the portal that we originally came through and get out of here.
Oh, there's so much destruction.
And that low rumbling suddenly spikes, and the whole chamber begins to shake. And, you can feel this, reverberation through it. The web strand connected from Portal 15 to the bloated Neogi, it begins to, liquefy. It's as if it begins to melt. And paladins around it are, taking steps backwards from it, right? And it begins to throw heat as it begins to build in temperature. And from its connection to the portal, again, as Falzaren knows, these strands do physically run the entire length from portal end 1 to portal end 2. There is a small chamber that does connect them physically. And as that the where it connects into the base of what was the portal 15, the melting just completely liquefies, and magma begins to pour through this 3-foot in diameter opening.
Quickly, everyone, we need to get out of here. Now, there's no time.
Run! We gotta go! I'll head toward the portal that we came in.
And that's where everyone else is moving as well. Samuel's bodyguards still have him. I mean, they kind of put him back into this wagon for ease of transport, right? And they're first ones there, right? They're getting him out immediately, followed closely by Calloway and Venture. I assume the lot of you want to move as quickly as possible as well, or are you also going to try to usher people through, or what? Similar to what you did in the previous chamber, or what do you want to do?
Falzaren is going to go toward the portal number 1 that leads back to the Samuel's camp and make sure that everyone knows that that's where they need to go. He's going to go up there and yell back at people. This way, this is our way out. Quickly, get here as fast as you can. But he's not going to go through yet, in case there's any way he can help, if there's stragglers or whatever.
You know what? I'll do the same thing, hovering by that portal in case lava comes near and I need to, use whatever magic I can to try to, deter the lava. You know, a gust of wind or, whatever spells I've got that I could manipulate some of that. There's no water in here.
That's true, there isn't. But what's pouring out does still look very viscous. As it's clear, there's no block. It's there's no blockage now. So it's free pouring out, but still very thick and kind of slow moving. But not as slow as you might like.
Well, I do have gust of wind, so if I need to, if it comes near the portal, I can try to use it and see.
Okay, great. And you are just, ushering paladins through. There still looks like there's a sizable number of paladins. That one, we're still remaining in this chamber and we're able to get out. Although maybe only a few hundred versus the thousands that were in the...
I know. 53.
53. You got 53 paladins.
That's my freaking phone.
I mean, is it going to be as soon as the flow gets, within 20 feet of you, you're then going through kind of thing, or what?
If people are still trying to escape when the flow gets within 20 feet, I'm going to cast Gust of Wind at this lava, where a line of strong wind 60 feet long and 10 feet wide blasts from me in the direction I choose to try to, like, manipulate the lava and the way it's going. It can last a minute, so I would try to do that. It extinguishes candles, torches, and unprotected flames, so I don't know if it also slows it down a bit, too. It causes protected flames, like lanterns, to dance wildly and has 50% chance of extinguishing them. So if you call this lava something, unpredictable or covered or whatever, like I could roll dice for it. I don't know. I'm gonna try.
Okay, and as you can see, like, again, Portal 15 is on the second story, right? So the magma quickly begins to spill over, but it makes it way, like, the closest portal to that on the bottom floor would be like Portal 6, and the whole way it's just like deleting the web strands, right? Like, it's just melting instantly as soon as it touches it.
I will be protecting this strand as long as I can.
Good idea. So Portal 6 though quickly like blinks out, like goes like as if it's like a stone surface, right? Like much like 15 did, and the webbing strand connected to it melting, and you see like the magma begins. It like starts to flow through the opening that would run that strand all the way to wherever 6 goes, right? As it starts to hit these portals and slowly filling up this room, portals winking out and just more flow finding spots and avenues to progress. It's like as if it's utilizing this web network, right? But now it's being replaced by this magma flow. So you're gonna Gust of Wind here, and you can see like the bloated Nyogi is clearly like agitated, as it can't move, it can't go anywhere, and it's as if like every time a strand is being incinerated and melted, it's screeching this entire time. It is just howling in pain and anger and frustration, and you can see it is clearly trying to move, but there's no possible way that it could move from where it's trapped in this stone, the 4 stone pillars around it, as the magma is like splashing up against the 20-foot pedestal of stone that it rests upon, right? So it's safe from the flow currently,
right? So far, yeah,
but clearly affected as the strands are getting destroyed.
I think while Falzaren is not doing much else, he's gonna cast Chromatic Orb and choose cold damage and try to use the orb to either divert or like slow the front line of this magma that wherever it is coming toward our side of this big cavern, where our web rope is towards portal number 1.
Okay, why don't you roll me that damage then. Roll me the cold damage and let's see how much of an area you can kind of affect with it. And Mia, so your gust of winding.
When it gets close, for sure. Like if it's hit 6, I mean the strands are pretty close. I guess, yeah. I could like position myself so that my 60 foot would reach it, 10 foot wide for a minute, and just kind of be spraying the wind back and forth like a little power wash situation. This is so stressful. I feel like so many people died, but that was probably what was going to happen all along anyway. Jeez.
I mean, it is clear, obviously, like Kay's like last thing he did with the strand, right, was initiating this
He said he was going to burn it, so I mean, I don't know if that was the reference, or they got fireworks to launch off that ship, or what.
So 16 cold damage that the Chromatic Orb is dealing.
As your orb just kind of explodes in this ball of ice, right, coupled with Mia's gusts of wind, almost like super cooling the very edge of this flow, right?
Yes.
As you were creating like that solidified blackened magma, right? And it's like diverting, it's creating almost like this wall, right, to divert the flow away from you currently, like where you are positioned, and you can manipulate it in small but effective ways, as you are just buying time for more paladins to get out of here, maintaining the structure of the portal, right? The usability of this portal.
Ideal. I'm happy.
And this is a concentration. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Flaming Sphere.
Mine can continue. I also have more spell slots if I had to, if it's over a minute that I keep doing this. So
Again, it's gonna depend how long the two of you are going to try to give the paladins, right? Like,
as long as I can. That's what I think.
Yeah, I will see that the chromatic orb was effective in some small fashion, and then I will start firing off Ray of Frost at similar area to try and just continue to keep it cool and hardening.
Or put Ray of Frost right in front of my wind, and then I just like frost everything.
okay, that's perfect. Yes, and
like
the
a frost gun.
the coupling of these two effects, right? You can see the hardened magma, the kind of like you're like almost building this wall, like every Ray of Frost endpoint coupled with the gust of wind, spreading that cooling effect, like as if you were laying bricks. And the barricade you're building like begins to just slowly grow inch by inch by inch as you are successfully diverting this magma flow. And it is now getting like within 20 feet of the strand that runs to Portal 1. And you can see you are being just buffeted with the heat coming out of this chamber now. And you can see that strand is starting to soften and droop.
Okay, yep, okay.
Time to go.
Falzaren, we gotta go. And hopefully I don't like watch anyone limping while I like just go through just kill my soul some more.
You've bought enough time to get you're the last people through here.
Okay. Yes.
As you are pressing through, it's stiff, right? The portal is stiffening, and you have to push more and more effort as you are making your way through, and finally, like, the four of you expel out onto the other side just as it seals over and it become as hard as stone.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, holy
I think did everyone make it?
We got them all. We did it. Well, whoever was left. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm exhausted.
Oh. What just happened? What? I feel like you got a lot to tell me here, Falzaren. There's a lot.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what's going on with Samuel?
No.
Do you remember anything with Kay? Okay, all right.
It must be something to do with this armor.
Oh man.
Falzaren, let's get out of this cave.
Yeah,
Yes.
True.
Yes,
okay.
we shouldn't rest here. Who knows what could happen?
Okay, pick my hammer back up. All right, we go to the tents, to the camp.
Yeah, and you come out to like the cluster of pallets, right? Everyone is almost like collapsed in exhaustion, right? And still, there's forces like they're helping each other, obviously. Those that need, help walking out are being supported, etc. And it seems like they're all just kind of trying to just get away from this cave opening. And as you come out into the night, you can see far off, towards Mount Necrosis, just this orange, red, yellow glow.
Anything in the sky?
You can see far above us, almost like mixing with like the specks of the stars above, but it's like little streaks, like 10 or so of these streaks in the sky.
Some of them have escaped, it looks like. As I suspected. I don't know what we could have done differently. We tried our best.
I feel like there's no guarantee they'll be back, but also I feel like I did my job. Like, I wanted them to leave Aspara. They left. Well, most of them.
Part of me doesn't feel victorious and like we've done what we want to do, but I think Aspara is safe for now.
Time will tell. Oh. What's a priority now? I mean, it seems like Samuel, the armor.
Yes, certainly. I don't know that I can do anything to help with Samuel, but...
But Thufdamar.
Yeah, so Falzaren looks over to Thufdamar. What next? What do you know of this armor? Surely there's something that is passed down through your lineage, maybe? I don't know.
I know that it was used to banish Dendar and Father Limerick. I know the role that my ancestors played in it, aiding the cultists wearing it.
You were never taught anything about this sort of effect that it can have? Melding together to form an immovable single piece?
My ancestors were able to remove it and scatter it.
Did your ancestors have the eyes of Dendar when they wore it? Like, were they in proximity? Is there something to do with the eyes? Shakara took the eyes.
They were hidden as well, including the Scythe of Limerick. Where is the Scythe?
The scythe?
Whoa,
What?
whoa, back up. Huh? We're missing something.
Perhaps it too played a role in what was able to defeat and banish Father Limerick. Each being had a item here on the material plane, connected to them.
What does the scythe look like?
Here it looked as a normal farming implementation. It was broken into pieces as well.
Are you serious? Oh, man. How did we not know that? Samuel didn't know that. Is it not written in any of the literature?
If he did know it, he didn't share it with any of us, that's for sure. Oh,
Pieces. It was broken into pieces.
we need Shaft and Shakara. We need to know what they're up to.
Well, Isabella.
Well, I will say, Mia, when I was being inhabited, taken over by that thing.
First of all, I'm sorry. I didn't know that a Neogi god was gonna take over your body. I do feel responsible. I asked Thuft, not you, but, I asked for help.
It's not your fault.
No. I could have saved you. I spent my resources carelessly. It was my fault.
Mia, no. I have gotten myself into all of the messes that have happened to me.
And we were just getting along so well. Do you remember that at least? It gives me the shivers. This is so...
What I was going to say is that what you weren't told is that Shaft left a note for Falzaren.
What?
Yes.
When? Wait, when they left?
The night that he left, yes, he snuck into my tent and slipped the note into my pocket. The note didn't go into much detail, Mia, but he said he was leaving. He needed to go help Nina. Do you remember him mentioning Nina?
Didn't she die?
Well, I don't know, but somehow he heard news of Nina, or I don't know the details, but that's where he left to go, according to his note.
So he went to Victor? I thought they were in Drukal, or that's where everyone went looking.
I don't know. Shakara didn't tell me anything or leave any sort of similar note for me, so...
Wait, maybe they're not together? But no, there's 3 sets of footprints. Man, I feel like I don't know anything anymore, but I just hope the Neogi are gone from everywhere. Like my family, Barrack, the mountains. Oh, my head hurts. I can't believe that I trusted Kay because he looked like you, and it just...
Mia, you can't blame yourself. You can't blame yourself for me putting myself in harm's way and dying, and you can't blame yourself for trusting Kay. Kay had access to all of my memories, knew everything about me. Would have been very easy for Kay to behave like me and say things that I would say.
Why is Alamar here? What the heck?
Oh, it's a long story. But when I was disconnected from my body, I went to a place, another plane, and Alamar was there. I was able to bring him back with me.
But we said no to Kay. He called in his favors and we said no. So, are we cursed now?
I don't know.
That thought, Mia, is punctuated by rumbling and a series of explosions as everything around you shakes.
I feel cursed.
And again, in the darkness surrounding this mountain range, bursts of light, orange and red fiery light, as 2 more eruptions set off, and around you scattered rocks and debris just raining on you, right as ash is just spouted up into the dark, and the glow of lava flows now streaming out of each of the 3 largest peaks illuminating like this valley and this ring of the around the mountain, right? And it looks like it is flowing incredibly quickly as it is spilling down the sides into where the lake was, right? You know how it was kind of like this valley?
Mm-hmm.
You can see that the lake looks as if it has been emptied. Clearly the source of the volume of water that was dumped into the chamber.
It looks like we need to go. I don't want to hang around to see what happens with this. Let's go, everybody. Come on. Pack up.
Where are we gonna go?
I don't know. Drew Crawl, I guess?
It's got a wall, but will it stop all the lava? Like, would we estimate that it would deter around the city potentially and just...
Well, it looks like it is flowing towards Drukal. And yes, you are correct. Drukal is encircled by about a 15-foot wall that may do something to slow its flow.
If the wall won't protect Drukal from this, we need to warn the inhabitants there to evacuate. We need to move quickly. The more time we can have to warn them, the better.
How are we gonna know if it'll protect until it comes? Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Where's the ships? Are there any, like, flying ships in the sky at all anywhere?
You don't see the ships, because if you recall, they had taken off and moved towards Drukal before you, like during the day, right? Before you went into the cave.
Maybe we could find the generals and tell them that we need to recall the ships, get as many people evacuated, or maybe they can communicate with people in Drukal that we need to evacuate. At this point, we could go back to the cultist lands. It's the furthest away from the mountains. But the land is barren there as well from everything we did to try to find these pieces of armor and...
If this lava is going to flow directly to Drukal, which I suspect it will, we have to notify the city, its inhabitants.
Well, I can go try to divert the lava, sure. Let's go, but...
I mean no offense, Mia, but I don't think you have the power required to divert all this lava.
Not all of it, but enough.
I think our time is best spent giving them as much warning as possible to evacuate.
Okay, well, we could send messages now.
Yes, you can absolutely, you like find Calloway and Ventura, and Stellis now is here as well. And like Calloway will send off sending spells to like the new captains of both the ships. And, you know, she says, okay, I've informed them. It's going to be clear. Like, if you can see the eruptions from where you are, the citizens of Drukal will absolutely see it. So they've sent off, like, evacuation, orders to get as many people aboard the ships as quickly as you can and move them out of the path of this flow.
Should we try to meet up with Shakara, Shaft, if they're alive?
I would feel a lot more at ease if I knew what had become of them and where they are.
Can't believe they missed the big fight. This is crazy.
Perhaps the eye or eyes of Dendar might hold the key to fixing Samuel.
Or help us find a scythe or something?
I don't know.
So as Calloway and like the generals now are ushering the paladins, I mean, from where you are actually, from your raised position here on one of these smaller peaks, because remember you're like, this peak is a mile or so, a mile and a half at the very tippy top. So you're about halfway up that. So you're actually at this elevated position where currently, I mean, unless the flow completely surrounded this little peak you're on, you and the paladins are safe up here for the time being. Obviously, you've seen like the flow is stretching through where the strands of the portal hub or the Nyogi portal webbing is going through. And obviously there is a strand that reaches to the cave opening here. So it's going to be only a matter of time before that flow kind of catches up as things start to just completely fill, right? But for the time being, from the eruptions, you are safe.
Okay.
It's moving fast though, right? Like, we can see it.
It's moving incredibly quickly.
15 feet's not that high. I feel like Drukal's going down. So, I don't know. We're pretty sure Shakara and Shaft are there. I'm no longer attuned to the shackles from being so far away from him. There's no fast way to do it. Like, I have a spell slot. I could communicate to Shakara myself, like, personally. Falzaren, what do you think? Should I just send a message to Shakara, tell them to meet us somewhere? It can't go too much farther past your call. The city is doomed.
Well, yeah. I think A lot has changed. Perhaps whatever Shakar and Shaft have gotten up to, this would be enough for them to finally listen and respond to us or meet us somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. We're safe here. Samuel might stay here. Does it seem like Samuel's going to be staying in the camp up here? Or?
It appears like the paladins are moving out. Like they're moving like back down towards where the tower was and just away from the mountain range.
If they come meet us at the camp, we can incidentally have her come with the eyes maybe, and Samuel's here, see if it can work. Like, I don't know, I feel like I should at least tell her to escape, right? Hopefully Shaft's with her, and hopefully they can get here fast. I mean, there's a chance that the paladins found him too, and they're in the middle of something. Okay.
I think it's worth a try, for sure.
Where do I tell them to meet us? At the tower? That's where Samuel went. Maybe if she brings the eyes, we can incidentally, try to see if they do anything to the armor.
How highly elevated is the location of the tower in comparison to, like...
It would be like if the reference is sea level, yeah, it would be like sea level. Like the same level as the city itself.
The tower's doomed if the lava comes this way. It's somewhere maybe they could get to in time. I think lava moves fast. I don't know.
It certainly looks like it's moving fast. It's hard to gauge how much time we have.
Can I look around the camp? Is there any, equipment left, scrolls, anything like that? Or is it I know I'm gonna have to use my own remaining spell slots for this? Any messages further coming?
Yeah, I would say that, pretty much the equipment got handed out, and anything available was passed around before going into the caves.
Okay, it's a 3rd level spell, and I have 2 3rd and a 4th, but the 4th would be good to keep for Revivify. Maybe. Learning from past experience. Alright, Falzaren. I guess we'll just see what she says, but for now I'm gonna say meet us at the tower. Is that okay?
Yeah, I suppose if they can make it there quickly, that would work, but if there's gonna be a delay...
If they can't make it there in time, where are we gonna head? Let's just give them a backup plan,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I suppose it's gotta be either somewhere far away or somewhere that has elevation.
The cave you mentioned by Zegsa, is that a good meeting spot? Or is that too dangerous because Izzy can use the portals too? I just figure if she has to come by alternate route, or if she's not in Drukal anymore, that might be easier.
You know what, I think that's not a bad idea, actually.
Okay, so that's the backup plan. If they're in Drukal, tower. If they're not gonna make it, keep running to Zegsa, to the cave. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's our best bet. I can't think of a better plan.
Okay, I'm going to say, Drukal doomed, Neogiga defeated. Come to the tower. If not, come to Zegsa Cave. Run! Now!
And that's our show. For more Aspara information, visit incorrigibleparty.com, where you can find all of our social media links, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as our Patreon. Our patrons get exclusive content like blooper reels and patron-only mini-campaigns. Our theme music was created by Josh Jarvis. For any of your musical needs, you can contact him at jamesmercymusic@gmail.com. Well, the rest of our sounds and music throughout our plays provided by tabletopaudio.com. And of course, our show sponsor, Critical Hit Design. For your design needs, visit criticalhitdesign.com. Happy adventuring. This has been a Sounds of Steel production.